Welcome back to live coverage of the 39th Jännerrallye here for 2026. Rally is well and truly underway for a brand new year, and we're about to go live for the super special stage here at the Jännerrallye, a particularly special stage. We're going to be indoors and outdoors in this event. The stage is already underway. This 14th stage of the rally, Freistadt 1, is the shortest stage of the rally at just 4 kilometres in length. It's been a really exciting rally so far, and drama unfolded this morning with poor old Michael Lengauer. He managed to run the gap down on the darkness stages yesterday to get the gap to just over 7 seconds to Simon Wagner, but a puncture on the opening stage this morning unfortunately put paid to his chances, and he trails now the 5-time Austrian champion by 1 minute and 23.5 seconds. It would now require a similar issue for Wagner, unfortunately. Really rotten luck for Lengauer.
Ich schätze mal, Wasser war unter dem Schnee, sofort am Platten gehabt. Somit war es das, glaube ich.
Yeah, he's talking about hitting the storm drain somewhere towards the beginning, immediately puncturing his tire.
Yeah, it's such a shame for him there, unfortunately. My name is Peter McRae, and I'm joined in the commentary booth by Hollie McRae and the voice you just heard, Kuru. Kuru, it's such a shame for Michael Lengauer. He'd done all the hard work last night, and then first stage this morning, it all goes wrong.
Yeah, also a bit of a bummer for a lot of the fans here that are rooting for him. It did not go the way they expected it to go. Lost a lot of time there, way past the minutes. And, well, let's see how he will be able to recover from this.
Only a few stages remaining. We've got a 4 kilometre test here for the Freistadt Super Special. We then go back to the Constant Arena at Königsweisen with 4.9 kilometres there. Then the first run of the power stage, Kettermarkt, which is 7.1 kilometres. Back to the Super Special here in Freistadt for 4 kilometres, and then the power stage 7.1. So not too many kilometres left, Hollie. So for Lengauer, he's kind of got a hope on Simon Wagner having a similar misfortune.
Absolutely, there are not many kilometres remaining of this rally, but as we know, every kilometre counts. So we will see what the afternoon stages throw at us. Obviously, the stage that we are about to see is the first pass, and this is one that will be very interesting. Obviously, at the start of the rally, we spoke quite a bit about the different tyres that are on offer to the drivers this weekend. We have very much just seen the tackies in use until now, because there is plenty snow coverage out on the more traditional stages. However, the super special that we're about to see, as you mentioned, Pete, takes place a little bit indoors as well, which is something incredibly unique in rallying. The stage will start from a roundabout, head through an industrial area and into the buildings of one of the sponsors, where they will do a donut, head out to finish the stage. And because there is a section inside this warehouse, it means that these tacky studded tyres are not allowed. So for the drivers, it's the first time that we will really see them on any other tyres. And as we can see, we've got a little bit of chat happening inside the warehouse as we speak. Let's listen.
Yeah, he's telling us about the warehouse where they're gonna be driving in, this time without the techies, because it would ruin the surface of the hall. They're gonna be doing a 360 around the pillar and then go straight back out again.
Es ist die Sonderprüfung, wo es wahrscheinlich am wärmsten ist. Eine Riesenhalle, viele Rallye-Fans hier erinnern. Und es ist eine SP, wo man sich zwischendurch auch mal ein bisschen aufwärmen kann, weil die Stimmung ist super. Die ist überragend, haben wir schon gesagt. Zurück zu euch. Barbara und Thomas, bitte.
That's the way to spend a Sunday afternoon, isn't it? To go and enjoy some rally cars doing some donuts inside a warehouse. I've seen it done once inside a basketball stadium in Gran Canaria, and that was really cool. But I imagine an even more enclosed space like that, the noise of the rally cars is going to be something to behold there. So because they can't use the tacky tyres, they'll have to, in fact, anything with studs, they'll have to go on to the regular tarmac tyre for this stage. So it'll be tiptoeing around on the outdoor section for the drivers. The first stage time coming through, 4 minutes and 20 for Petr Kacirek, as we ride with Martin Rossgatter going inside now. Is the onboard camera going to still work inside? Yes, it is. Fantastic stuff. In he goes. Oh, that looks slippy.
Nicely done.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And now we're going to see, with these tyres here for the Rally 3 cars, like we have on screen, the tyres that they would normally use on, say, a tarmac rally. And when you see the Rally 2 cars come round, watch closely how much wider their tyres normally are. And that is one of the big advantages that a Rally 2 car would normally have, along with its extra power. But also, you know, when we go back onto the snow and we refit those narrow skinny tyres, the studded skinny tyres, the Rally 3s are on a level playing field with the Rally 2, and the only deficit they then have is the power, and that's why we've seen some great stage times from these cars. Still very similar suspension setup, raised right up to get those tyres to work well. Pretty much dry, or at least clear tarmac now towards the end of the stage. But not absolutely perfect conditions, Hollie. The drivers will have to be really careful here.
Absolutely. It's a bit unpredictable what we're seeing right now. This is Martin coming around for his second pass of that warehouse section. On the event programme, the section inside the warehouse is drawn in a dotted line rather than the solid line of the rest of the stage, because it went down to the wire as to whether this section of the stage was going to be used or not. And Kuru and I were questioning whether we'd see it used just once and then the drivers pass by on their second lap, but it looks as though they are getting into that warehouse twice, which makes it even more exciting for the spectators as well. It truly is such a unique stage, and I think we need to give a huge round of applause to the organisers just for the variety that they've managed to pack into this rally. When we were preparing for the event before heading out to Austria, as I was looking at the stages and what lay in front of us, it did sort of give me flavours of the Barham Rally, in the sense that there is just so much going on, and obviously I've heard great things about the spectators here as well. And I have to say, having experienced it now for myself, it really does give the vibe of a Barham Rally on snow, and I am so happy that I've been part of it this year.
That's a great comparison. Barham Rally is, I will openly say, is my favourite rally of the year. I absolutely adore it. It's so hardcore. But yeah, this is very much like Barham Rally in terms of fan engagement. Fans everywhere here in the Upper Austria. But also the surface changes make it like Barham, but of course with the addition of snow. No problem with snow in Barham Rally in the heat of a Czech summer, but almost down to a stop now for the drivers. They've been on those spiked snow tyres all the way through, and now they cannot use them on this stage because of that pass underneath the warehouse. So they're now on snow conditions on completely the wrong tyre, and the Rally 2 launching off their number 2, Robert Jurgensen. Certainly you can see straight away the difference between a Rally 2 and a Rally 3. Way more horsepower and able to use it with those, putting that grip down with those tyres. Look how much later here Robert Jurgensen can brake in this Rally 2 car. Quick flick around and then more traction going up the hill as well. But then onto the snowy section, you're going to be down to a crawl, and there's no grip there at all. I mean, we've all experienced it, Kuru, haven't we? When you're on a car with not the right tyres and you go onto a snowy surface, it's horrible.
Yeah, now imagine doing that with 300 horsepower. It would make it way more difficult, at least for me. The one thing they have going for them, they're all on all-wheel drive vehicles, so that will help them at the very least. But I think they're having a lot of fun here in the hall. You can see very clean slides around that pillar. Very nice performance. But yeah, you see the conditions change very, very quickly, going from a very clean surface to all of a sudden a very snowed over, kind of muddy, wet surface, then back to more tarmac again. They have to definitely stay on their toes to make sure to keep their car under control.
So tricky. So tricky here for Robert Jurgensen. Handling it well, though. This will be good preparation for Monte Carlo, for potentially being on the wrong tyre on mixed conditions. This is what he came to try out. He probably didn't expect to do it on a super special, but there we go. Fastest through so far, Philip Kreisel in the Toyota GR Yaris Rally 2, 8.8 seconds quicker than Petr Kacurek, who's quicker than Martin Rossgatterer there. That's a great run from him. Our Jännerrallye expert, Martin Rossgatterer. Kacurek on his debut, quicker by half a second, and crucially 3.6 quicker than Lichtenegger. So that is now that gap between Lichtenegger in 9th and Kacurek in 10th is now down to just 7.9 seconds. And that, of course, is for second place in the Rally 3 category also. So very, very important there in that Rally 3 fight as Romick goes for his second pass through the Interbeton warehouse.
That little section that we're seeing just before they do enter the warehouse, when they come around that left-hander and there is just a drop in that snow banking to the side, it would be so easy, especially on the tyres, to come into that left-hander a little bit too quick and lose the end of the car down that bank, which is not what we want to see. But when you see the drivers coming around, have a little look the next time.
And you think about if you're in Simon Wagner's shoes now and you're trying to get a rally win in the bag, you've got a big lead, you probably don't want to take too much on. Very, very careful and tidy there from Mads Osberg. Tell you what, Hollie, that is not like Mads. Normally he takes any opportunity to have a show off.
Yeah, absolutely. Not what I was expecting from him at all in there, particularly since this rally, they have just been adopting the we're here to have fun approach. I figured that he might have put on a little bit more of a show in there, but hey, maybe the sort of change in tyres and everything that's come before this stage is something that's taken him by surprise.
Just taking it very, very careful, which, as I mentioned, definitely it's normally not normally not Mads's style, but he is taking right in the kind of southern part of the town. He is very, very close to the his main sponsor of this car, ENS Motors, local dealership in Freistadt. He's pretty much going past their front door there, so yeah, maybe didn't want to mangle their car up going past the front door.
Think he's keeping it clean for the sponsors.
Yeah, he's saying, I'm looking after it, honestly. Yeah, I'm being really careful, promise.
I suppose this is something that maybe the experience is coming into play. Mads is aware more so maybe what the car can do given the conditions, and he is just taking it slower than someone else might do.
See how he goes the second time around. He's judged the grip around. Yeah, handbrake's working. Just a little tweak of the handbrake there. Now, neat and tidy. That might not look as spectacular, but actually quick. Now, that says to me that Mads wants this podium, and he wants it badly. He took a bit of time on the previous stage out of Hermann Neubauer in third position. So he is managing to close it down. It's 5.7 seconds. Getting a closer look there of the more kind of conventional tyres fitted to Michael Lengauer's car. Get them through this stage. But certainly not easy for the drivers. This is, super specials can be a little bit fraught with danger anyway, but yeah, certainly when you're on the kind of suboptimal tyre, it makes it even more tricky. Story of what could have been for Michael Lengauer, unfortunately, with that puncture this morning, really put paid to his chances for now. You never know; things might come back his way, but he's unfortunately a long way back, over a minute back after that puncture. As Hermann Neubauer just goes by, of course, a couple of laps of this super special to complete, 2 laps of 2 kilometres apiece. You can see just behind him there, Simon Wagner coming up to take his turn to go around this stage. Very close to the service park here in Freistadt, where they'll go after this stage to get things ready for action. He goes fully committed through that first section. Jaroslav Koltun has come through, fastest through so far by 3 seconds then over Philip Kreisel, and 11.8 quicker than the Rally 3 car of Petr Kacurek. So it's been a good run there for Jaroslav Koltun, and we're seeing it here, Kuru. The Rally 2s are now starting to stretch their muscles a bit. They've got that wider tyre on, and they can get a little bit better grip than the Rally 3s and use that extra horsepower.
Yeah, this is where the class differences really starts to become more apparent. If you combine the higher horsepower and the wider tires, you combine more grip and more acceleration for much faster lap times. So this is where we're going to see the Rally 3 cars fall a bit behind, which is not too much of an issue considering the stage is only 4.13 kilometers long.
Yeah, very short stage here for this one. Looks like they've gone for more of a gravel tyre for this stage, which I understood from the regulations wasn't allowed, but there may have been an extra allowance made for this single stage. Of course, taking the tackies away, it would be very, very tricky on just the tarmac tyre here with these snowy sections outside with the weather we've had the last couple of days, but it wouldn't be Jännerrallye without a little bit of snow and a little bit of jeopardy. They've had it, I wouldn't say they've had it easy so far, Hollie, but it's been relatively easy to make a tyre choice. It's been tackies all round for everybody.
I would say so, yeah. Since the rallies got underway, the weather has stayed quite consistent. I think where the main challenge came was earlier in the week. When the crews went out on Wednesday to start their recceing, there had been no snow for quite some time, and so a lot of the stages were being recceed in full tarmac, similar to what we're seeing right now on the onboard. And then between the first day of recce and the second came quite a substantial snow dump, and so that really mixed things up a little. People were then quite keen to get out again on the Thursday afternoon after they'd done their qualifying to have a second go at recce to see the stages with some snow on them. Obviously, since that point, there then came no more snow, so what they're rallying is something in between the two passes of recce that they'd managed to do. So before the rally started, they were already asking lots and lots of questions of the weather. Since the rally has got underway, it's been a bit more consistent, and yeah, the tyre choice has been a pretty simple one for the majority, and I think from our point of view it keeps things quite simple as well. There was a lot of research went into the tyre options available before the rally, and I think I would have been kept far busier out in the service park if it had been a bit more difficult to make those tyre choices.
The rally leader then coming through the warehouse for the first time, Simon Wagner, normally runs on Michelin tyres. You can see the Michelin man on the back of the car, but actually the tackies only are available at the moment from Pirelli, so he's been running on Pirelli tyres for the majority of the rally, of course, and switching back to his more well-known Michelin tyres for this one stage alone. Of course, if we'd had a drier and less snowy Jännerrallye, that would have been a different story, but through he comes then, trying to make the most of that grip while it is there. And for him, Kuru, right now, I mean, we saw him take a very well managed approach once he had that big lead, still kept the pace up to a really good level, but not maximum attack. But for a stage like this, there's only things that can go wrong here. There's not much to be gained by risking anything here.
Yeah, and I also think he's a bit more comfortable on these tires, as well as some of the other competitors. It looks very clean, especially through the hole earlier. There was a very clean 360 around the pillar. It kept a lot of speed and generally looking like a very fast run so far. And I think he might actually get a bit of a lead on this stage.
Yeah, he might not be risking it, but he certainly looks confident. You're spot on there. Into the warehouse then for the second lap. Running more of a tarmac wheel, actually, different wheel to what's on Michael Lengauer's car. That's interesting stuff there. How Simon Wagner's gone. Yeah, you can see the multi-spoke wheels there of Wagner that you would see on a tarmac rally, whereas Lengauer, he had a gravel wheel on. So that's one for your service park lunchtime walkabout, Hollie, is to find out what the story is there.
Adding it to the notes as we speak.
Brilliant. Mads Osberg fastest through so far by 4.5 seconds over Robert Jurgensen and 5.3 quicker than Michael Lengauer, but critically 5.9 faster than Neubauer. So Osberg is back up into the podium, and as we say that, Wagner takes one of the poles out there. So Wagner, we said he'd be taking it easy. Doesn't appear so, Hollie.
No, he's certainly still going for it. It was interesting after the first stage when we saw what happened to Lengauer to then make an assumption of how Simon Wagner would handle the rest of the rally. It's clear that he's not backing down much. He's still giving it his all, and perhaps that's psychological as well. When you've geared up to have a bit of a battle on your hands on the last day of a rally, if you then have to change that approach throughout the day, it can throw you off as well. So perhaps he is just focusing on giving every stage his all in the hope that it keeps him in the rhythm that he started the event with. So it'll be interesting to see when he does get to the end just here how he has performed in comparison to the others. But how exciting for Osberg. He's back up where he wants to be.
Just tiptoe. Oh, so narrow there. And I think Simon Wagner will be more relieved and delighted to see those red boards than any other stage of this rally. But of course, he's got to go through here once more. Time not on the board just yet, but it looks like it'll be a third stage win for Mads Osberg at the moment before Wagner's time coming through. Osberg having a great event speed-wise. Unfortunately, 2 punctures on Friday, which we'll see what Wagner can come up with on this stage here. Interestingly, Osberg, he's had 2 stage wins up to now, both of which on the second pass, which I guess is understandable given it's his first Jännerrallye, and on stages that he's finally had a look at first run, he's able to extract that speed on the second pass. But of course, first time through this super special, very, very strong indeed. And I presume, Hollie, that WRC and ERC experience of doing these super specials regularly really comes to the fore.
Yeah, it makes plenty sense that he is giving it a little bit more on the second passes. He has so much experience from rallies all across the world, and experience of the car, knowing what it can do, experience of a lot of different types inside the car. What he doesn't have experience of is what's happening outside, and it's clear that he's trying to manage that as much as he can, whether it is new stages, whether it is the new tyres that he's running on. Those things he's just sort of getting a feel for in those first stages, the first pass of each stage, and then he's allowing himself to get into it properly on the second pass, which is a very sensible and measured approach in my opinion. And as you say, the super specials are something that he is comfortable with. He's done plenty rallies nowadays that they have some spectator stages. We saw him come around that pillar a little bit carefully, but he knows what he's doing, so I suppose you've just got to trust that it works for him.
Yeah, he just kept it nice and neat and tidy, which seemed to be the quickest way round. So Simon Wagner's time has come through now, 13 seconds off the pace of Osberg. Looked to be struggling a lot on that tarmac tyre, but still has a big gap back to Michael Lengauer. 1 minute 15.8. Wagner leads over Michael Lengauer. But the big story is Mads Osberg, with that super special stage win, up onto the podium places. He's now just 0.2 of a second ahead of Hermann Neubauer. Action for the following stage comes up in a little while, comes up just around 40 minutes time, 12:23 local time. We have our next stage, that's Constant Arena Honigweisen is our next one, stage 15. Is Christoph Zellhofer coming through at the moment in the Suzuki Swift. Whoop, really pushing hard on there. Zellhofer having a strong event in that Suzuki Swift up to now. He came into the day just around the fringes of the top 10. After the previous stage, Zellhofer, in his Suzuki, looking down the order, came through in 14th place. So looking like a good top 10 result or top 15 result in the offing here for Christoph Zellhofer, and Anna-Marie Seidel alongside reading the pace notes. And I don't think we're damaging the floor at all. I think that's all fair, I would say, Hollie.
Absolutely, I think that warehouse will be good to go come tomorrow morning. As we are sitting watching the pictures from stage 14, we can hear rally cars gathering just outside us here. This is now the point in which the cars return back to the Freistadt service for their first service of the day. They have been out this morning since just before 8 o'clock without a service, and the service that they're coming into now is only 23 minutes. So maybe that's a reason that we've seen some of the drivers taking it a little bit easy as well. They don't have a lot of time time to be making changes to their car today, particularly if it's a silly mistake on a super special. So perhaps keeping it neat is the order of the day, and then they will head out this afternoon to see what the final few stages have in store for them.
Hearing that Simon Wagner may have just clipped the bridge as well on that very last corner, which looked really, really tricky. So
I did think I saw that. The back of the car sort of jolted up as he took the right-hander around the bridge.
Yeah, so hopefully he's, if there is any damage, they can get it sorted in that 23-minute service before heading back out to the arena stage, to the Wimberger, to the Constant Arena Königsweisen stage, which starts at 12:23 local time, as Alex Baumgartner heads off in his Ford Fiesta prototype, running the tarmac tyres by the looks of things. So there's a mix. Some crews using the tarmac tyres and some using the gravel. Now, when I read the regulations, it said that gravel tyres were not permitted, but that may have been changed. Sometimes you get late bulletins, etc., that allow those tyres to be used, which may have been due to the conditions. But some deciding to go for a tarmac tyre, again, that studs are not allowed at all. So you need to use a regular tarmac tyre, and that makes it very, very tricky, as Alex Baumgartner shows us perfectly there. And I tell you what, Kuru, he pulled up in the nick of time there before going down that steep banking.
Yeah, if he would have gone down there, he would have lost more than just 5 seconds. So good on him saving that one. But I think it starts to crystallize that the gravel tire might actually have a slight advantage over the more what's the other one called?
The tarmac.
Yeah, the tarmac tire. Yeah, the tarmac tire might be very fast on the cleaner parts of the track, but there isn't that much of it to make that much of a difference.
No, there isn't on the snowy sections as we look at now. It will be like driving on, well, I was going to say it's like driving on ice. Well, yes, it is like driving on ice because you are. But that Simon Wagner, certainly the last part of the section, last part of the stage, he was slipping and sliding all over the place, not able to use anything, all of the power of the grip at all. They're very, very tricky. But then as soon as you're onto that blacktop, the speed immediately picks up. This, I tell you what, this is almost like Monte Carlo in miniature here in the streets of Freistadt, as Gerald Bachler ready to head off in his Mitsubishi Lancer Evo. Now, what tyres has he got on there? They look to me like gravel. Yes, they are. The sidewall much more rounded. So he probably has the right tyre on for this stage. Tell you what, Hollie, this is one of the most interesting super specials I've seen. The fact that we can have tyre choice jeopardy on the super special.
It certainly is. I've been sat here for the majority with my mouth gawking a little bit. It's been great to see on the monitor as much as we can of this stage. And as you say, normally the super special is one that drivers sort of roll their eyes at, whereas this one, there's a lot of questions going on, and you can imagine them chatting with engineers and mechanics about what choice will be the right one beforehand. It's certainly not one that they can let their guard down for. I mean, for some drivers, they might find this to be the trickiest stage of the whole rally.
I think if you're on tarmac tyres, definitely so. And that is something that it's not a surprise to see Mads Osberg winning this stage, and by a good margin as well. He'll be used to driving on it. Looked like he had a gravel tyre on, so looks like you know driving a gravel tyre on tarmac, that's something that he will have so much experience of from his days in the WRC and ERC, where we do a lot of super specials the night before the gravel rally begins. But Gerald Bachler using the... Oh dear, off goes Gerald Bachler, no grip at all there coming out the warehouse, and he's bent the rear left wheel badly. That he will not be able to drive any further on that, surely.
Oh no, that is Bachler. Heartbreaking.
Through goes the number 23 machine, the Rally 3 car, just slithering past. It will have to be slowed down a little bit to try and get through there safely. That was the Rally 3 car coming through Manuel Worm. Oh no, poor old Gerald Bachler. And we mentioned it, it's so easy to do. It's super special. Like you say, the drivers roll their eyes at them, but oh, perilous around the corner there.
What's it they say? You can't win a rally on a super special, but you can certainly lose it. And that is a prime example of just how much can be changed on a stage like this. And it will be now interesting to see, oh, they have managed to get it moved quite a bit out of the way already. Good, good, good. I was going to say it's going to be something else that the drivers that follow now need to contend with, is not only the focus of coming out of the warehouse straight onto that icy road, but also not bumping into him as well. But they seem to have managed to have slotted the car quite nicely behind that building.
It can stay open for now. The number 19 Suzuki comes through. The Suzuki ZMX of Simon Sebel. He's running on the tarmac tyres with those, you can just tell by the wheels, those multi-spoke wheels there. So we'll watch to see how he compares to the rest of the cars in the prototype class, which is what he's running at. So to run through the order so far from what we've seen, Mads Osberg, your standout stage winner by 4.5 seconds over Romet Jurgensen. Then it's Michael Lenger in third, 5.3 of the quickest time. Herman Neuber, 5.9 of Osberg, which means that's a position change. Mads Osberg climbing back up onto the podium. Jaroslav Koltun, fifth quickest, 7.8 off the fastest time. Philip Kreisel was sixth fastest, 10.8 off. And Simon Wagner, 13 seconds off the fastest time, having to tiptoe his way through and not making it through completely cleanly by the sounds of it. Albert von Thurn, Texas, is eighth quickest at the moment, 13.2. Christoph Zellhofer, ninth quickest in the Suzuki Swift ZMX, 16.3 off the overall fastest time. As more tricky grip there for the Mazda 2, the number 28 machine there. Very, 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 very
that
tricky.
That is a tricky corner. We've got in the YouTube comments someone referencing that Romet was also quite close to that wall on the first lap. I did notice that. He came round there with maybe a bit too many beans and was lucky to get away with it. But yeah, it seems to be catching more people out as we go down the field. Is it due to experience, perhaps? We will just need to wait and see.
Could be that maybe it's polishing a little bit, maybe getting more slippy. I don't know, but it's really, really tricky. And Gerald Bachler was on those gravel tyres as well, so you would expect he'd have a little bit better grip than the tarmac tyre. As the local Mazda dealer, the number 28, Marcus Stockinger, in his Mazda 2 prototype, has only ever rallied Mazdas for that reason. But he's on the tarmac tyres here, so let's see how he gets on then as he goes onto the ice, onto the snow, and having to all of a sudden go much, much slower and take it very, very easy. And so easy to drop over the ledge there. If you just miss your braking point a little bit, you can be a passenger and you rally over. This is the banana skin, isn't it, Kuru? And this whole rally, if it isn't more difficult enough, this is the one that could end it all.
Yeah, you got to be careful, especially if you're on those tarmac tires, as we have seen. I'm not sure if it's getting more slippery because a few more cars drove over there. Maybe they removed some of the dirt and all of a sudden it's ice below that. But I definitely start to see more and more cars struggling with that particular corner that took out the Evo earlier.
Talking are now coming towards the end of the stage, having to tiptoe his way through.
It will be interesting. Sorry, Peter, on you go.
It seems like there's parts of the stage where the tarmac tyre is way quicker, but then other parts of the stage where you've really got to be super careful. I think like I say, it's Monte Carlo in miniature.
It will be interesting to see when the drivers head out to this stage for the second time, if they make the same tyre choice as what they did on the first pass, or if they're going to try something different. We'll see who sticks by their initial choice based on, I think, how well they've performed on this first pass.
I suspect Simon Wagner might be fitting gravel tyres if he can. It's gravel tyres for the Audi Quattro sitting here.
On some
Hopefully
stunning
we'll get some
rims.
5-cylinder. Oh, yeah. I wouldn't want to clean them.
It's very true. You need quite a lot of spray for that one.
The launch of an Audi Quattro. You're talking a 40-year-old car, and just the way it puts the power down, and that 5-cylinder motor just lights up. Fantastic. Here he comes down towards the hairpin. Oh, big acceleration from that car. Now having to get it slowed down. Car number 35. This is Patrick Gaubinger and Verena Gaubinger reading the pace notes.
I'm intrigued to see how this car handles on the indoor section in comparison to the others.
Well, Patrick last year on the first pass was 5th quickest overall in this car. So he has form on this stage.
Beautifully done donut round there. Ooh, bit of a slide on that section again.
It sounds absolutely glorious, that Audi Quattro. And I think, yeah, a strong car for this type of stage.
I'm sure the spectators would have loved to have seen him pass through there, and the selection of cars that we know will come after as well. We're in for a real treat. When I spoke to Simon Wagner ahead of the rally and asked him to give me a rundown of all things Jännerrallye, one of the things that he mentioned was the number of spectators that come out for this event. He said that on average you get roughly between 110 and 150,000 people coming out over the course of the weekend to spectate in person, and that is really just a sign of how well the organisers do it, making it accessible for people, like giving them lots of different stages to look out for and different experiences along the way. It is truly, truly well done.
Horst Stürmer in the other Audi Quattro number 36 coming through, letting that 5-cylinder engine just light up. So the times at the moment, Mads Osberg was quickest through of the front runners, but we want to see where the some of these classics come in. The Lancia Delta HF Integrale, the number 34 car run by Günther Koenigseder, that car pretty impressive, 14th quickest, only 23.3 off the time of Mads Osberg, quicker than some of the Rally 2s as well. Great effort from him as we'll let some 5-cylinder sing around the warehouse.
Seems like he's having a bit of a hard time getting his car under control. Many moments where the car drifted a little bit too much, where it was harder to catch for him. Let's see how he can handle the rest of the stage.
Just taking it a little bit more careful, you would say, than the number 35 car, the other Audi Quattro of Patrick Gaubinger, which will be coming to the end of the stage shortly. We'll see where he fits in amongst the rest of the field in his Audi Quattro. Oh, and then now we're talking Subaru time. I don't think there's much better than a flat 4 Subaru Boxer engine.
The sound of that accelerating up the hill as well there was just stunning. Beautiful stuff. I think in reference to some Subaru videos of years gone by, one of the commenters on our YouTube stream had mentioned that had it been Colin that had hit the building with the side of his car, he'd be out there trying to straighten it with a boulder. I'm not sure there are many boulders to be found in this industrial estate, but hey, anything's worth a shot, right?
You're bound to find something that you could use as a implement to do that. Now, you know how we were talking yesterday, Hollie, are you saying when we were talking about cars from the 1980s, you were saying, oh, you're reliving your youth, Peter. This is more my youth here, this Subaru, mid-90s.
Do you know what? I sat about thinking about that in my shower last night, going over it in my head. I was like, how did that come out so wrong? I wasn't saying that you yourself were from the 70s in order to remember the 80s cars. It was more, we didn't have Rally 2 cars growing up. So when you watched rally videos, it was Group A and Group B that was familiar back then. I'm not saying that you're the same age as a Group B car, I promise.
I wasn't offended, it's okay. It's all right, I knew what you meant.
Sat there,
Now,
couldn't get to sleep last night thinking about it.
I'm sorry. Ernst Hanader, the local baker here in the Toyota GR Yaris, he's had a superb event so far in this. Pretty much, it's near enough standard road car, but the standard GR Yaris is such a good car as a road car, and put a roll cage in it, and you've basically got a ready-to-go rally car. And that's exactly what Ernst is driving at the moment. I wonder, Kuri, if this is the car he does his deliveries in.
No, I would wonder about that too, but if that would be the case, I'm pretty sure you would always get your bread fresh in the morning. We actually walked by his shop yesterday on our way home before we went for dinner last night. It's a very nice shop. I was kind of hoping to have some kind of shout out to the rally, but I think he was too busy preparing for the event.
Yeah, we were hoping for a closed for the rally sign on the door, but that wasn't quite the case.
Yeah, the little GR Yaris gets on in the warehouse. Handbrake's still working nice and neat and tidy. Doesn't look as spectacular, but that is pretty efficient there, showing the experience there. Ernst Hanader taking part in his 20th Jännerrallye. What an achievement.
Good awareness too there, because he got very close to that pillar. If he kept turning in, he would have scraped that on the inside, but he did notice his quick braking with the handbrake, and he definitely corrected it just in time to not damage his car or the pillar.
The times for the Audi Quattros are coming through, and it's a great time from Patrick Gaubinger, 11th overall in that Audi Quattro, and you're talking a 40-year-old rally car there, and it shows you just how strong that machine is. He's just ahead of the two Rally 3 machines, in fact 3 Rally 3 machines just behind him, and then a good time for the number 34 Lancia Delta Integrale of Günther Koenigteder as well, sitting in this stage, the standings 15th overall as things stand. Now into some of the front-wheel drive competitors, the Peugeot 208 R2 of Martin Stenberg, the Norwegian, making his first attempt at the Jännerrallye.
It is at this stage, gentlemen, I am going to politely excuse myself from commentary because the services will quickly be coming to an end for our top running drivers out there, and I do want to get out and ask some questions about tyres. So if I can be excused, I will go and do what I can in the service park. And to those of you that are joining on YouTube, thanks for tuning in on this stage. We've got quite a bit more to go, so feel free to stick along, keep looking at some of these incredible cars as they pass by, and you will hear from me again shortly in stage 15.
Thank you, Hollie. Looking forward to hearing the service park report. We had some great insights from the drivers yesterday at lunchtime service. As Stenberg coming through now through the warehouse in his Peugeot 208 R2, front wheel drive coming through the danger corner. Whoa. I think we're all nervous now, Kuru, waiting with that one particular corner. It looks a little bit off camber there as well as being very slippy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I do think, just from personal experience, the front wheel car, that kind of drivetrain is a little bit easier to handle about the tricky corners. You're overall slower, but that's what the class is all about. It's easier to drive, it doesn't have as much power, but even then, you still have to stay on your toes.
You do, yeah. It can sometimes be a useful tool, but yeah, when traction is low, the front-wheel drive cars they do tend to struggle. So, confirming then, Mads Osberg fastest through of this stage, a 4-minute flat 0.8. Just quite a bit for a super special. Quite a lot quicker, 4.5 seconds quicker than Robert Jurgensen. Michael Lengauer, third quickest, 5.3 of the quickest time. Hermann Neuber, fourth, 5.9 of the quickest time of Osberg. And of course, that means that it is a switch of position as well. We have coverage coming up of the very next stage. Be sure to join us for that. That will kick off very soon at 12:23 Central European time. That's local time here in Austria. 4.9 kilometers of the Constant Arena Königweisen coming up. It is still Simon Wagner who leads the rally in control, 1 minute and 15 seconds to the good. Can he hang on for his very first Jännerrallye win? That is the question. A little bit of a service break for him now to reset for the final sprint towards the finish. When they reach Freistadt tonight, will he be raising the trophy and will he be spraying the winner's champagne? That is the question. We will be back. If you enjoyed the coverage of this super special stage, we will be back for a second pass a little bit later on. That will take place at 13:55 local time. And there may be a few drivers taking it with a little bit more caution. Unfortunately for Gerald Bachler and his Mitsubishi Evo 8, it may be rally over with the rear suspension badly damaged. If he can limp it back to service, maybe there's a chance to get it repaired. But we saw some fantastic driving, some spectacular machines, particularly the beautiful Audi Quattro, the iconic Audi Quattros, needing all four of those driven wheels to keep on the stage at points. And it looks like we've been relatively kind to the warehouse, which is very kindly given its meterage for us to use for this stage. So 4 kilometres of the Wimberger Super Special here in Freistadt will be repeated a little bit later on at 1:55. Then we have the two passes of the Keffermark stage, 1:20 for the first pass, and the power stage for the Austrian Championship, the final stage at 3:05 local time. Be sure to join us then. Bye for now.